today I'm attempting to make a chocolate birthday cake for the very first time. I've baked a few things before, but a full-blown chocolate cake with buttercream, this is my first time. And I literally have everything written down and I'm checking my recipe for every 30 seconds. So here I've taken a stick of butter and a stick of dark chocolate, and we need to melt it because we're making our wet ingredients here. And just make sure that you're not microwaving it at one go. So do it 5 minutes and then check if it's properly melted. If not, then microwave it again so you don't burn your chocolate. And here I've also added 1 cup of milk and half a cup of oil. You can use any oil, vegetable, sunflower, olive. I have olive oil, so I'm using olive oil. And you mix well. So you can see the batter has become dark gray, so it's nicely mixed. And now I'm adding 3 eggs to it, just to give that cake a good structure. When the soda and the powder add on to this, then the cake will eventually look good. So give it a good mix and keep it aside for now. And then we go ahead with the dry ingredients. I'm taking 2 cups of all-purpose flour here. You need to sift the flour, but I did not have a flour sifter, so I had to make do with the chai strainer. Baking really teaches you improvisation is fun, so it's okay. So I'm sifting my flour. You need to take 1 cup of sugar, granulated sugar will do, and then half a cup of cocoa powder. It's okay if you don't sift your flour, but please make sure you sift your cocoa powder because it tends to form lumps and you don't want to bite into a huge lump of cocoa powder. And then we add 1.5 teaspoon of baking soda. In the Netherlands, I get it as already measured packets, so I'm adding 1.5 packet of baking soda here, and then half teaspoon of baking powder. Here I forgot to add half teaspoon of salt, but please do add it in this step of the process so you're properly mixing your dry ingredients and you're not leaving any powder on its own. And then we add a cup of coffee, which only makes the cocoa powder stand out. So the chocolate flavor is going to stand out when you put coffee into it. Don't worry, the cake is not going to taste coffee-ish, so you can just go ahead and add 1 cup of coffee. So add your wet ingredients into your dry ingredients and mix well. Don't mix too much because you don't want air to go in. Here I'm using the slit method of mixing, which I learned from my mom. It's very useful so that you don't have any lumps in your batter. Now keep it aside and you have your cake tins. You first grease them with a little butter and we place butter paper at the bottom just so you make sure that you don't want your cake to be sticking. Then add the batter you've prepared into it. Only add up to like half of the cake tin. Don't add completely because the cake is going to bake and come up. So you need to leave some space. And now I'm putting it in the oven, hoping this thing bakes well and comes out nice. And voila, it actually baked. This is already a win for me. Please let it cool before you remove it out of the cake tin, otherwise it's going to crumple. So make sure it's nice and cool down, and then you can take a butter knife or a knife and then just give it a nudge so it comes right off the cake tin for you. Now it's time for the chocolate buttercream. So here I'm taking half a stick of butter and then a little bit of cream cheese just to give my buttercream, that creamy, shiny effect. But as you can see, I cannot melt it. So make sure your butter is in room temperature or just microwave it. I've done that. It looks like a nice liquid mixture now. And again, don't forget to sieve your cocoa powder. You do not want cocoa lumps in your buttercream. You mix, give it a good mix, and now I'm adding powdered sugar. So if you like good sweet, you're a sweet tooth person, love to eat sweets, then go for like 3 cups of powdered sugar. But I don't personally, like too much sweet, so I'm going for 1 cup of powdered sugar, and it's good enough. You can add a little bit of milk. Here you can add coffee, you can spice it up with whiskey or anything of that sort, or just plain hot water will do as well, and you give a nice mix. If you have a hand mixer, make use it so you have a nice frosting instead of buttercream, which you get in other, the usual cakes. So now I've baked around 3 cakes because I had a very small cake tin and I was hoping to make those, mini sized cakes. I'm cutting my 1 cake into 2 pieces, and then you take your buttercream, put it on your cake, and then you place one more cake piece on top. So you're creating layers to your cake. I wanted to do 3 layered chocolate cake, so I'm going to do this another time and put one more piece of cake on top, so I get the 3 layered look. Here, the thing is, this is visually looking nice, but I was looking for a smooth bakery style frosting, but I forgot that I don't have a hand mixer. So I got my batter to look like this. So it's a little bit runny, so I wanted my batter to stand more stiffly, but you can see it's a little more runny than what I expected, but it still looks great, and trust me, it tasted yum. These cakes are actually giving rustic homemade energy, so I'm good. And voila! This is how my cake looked in the end. The birthday boy requested some grated dark chocolate on top, which immediately made the whole thing look 10 times fancier. Like suddenly this cake went from "it's my first attempt" to "wait, did I actually make that?" And honestly, for a first time, I'm pretty proud of this. So yeah, for a first attempt, I'm calling this a success. The frosting may not have looked exactly how I imagined. The chai strainer definitely struggled a little, but the cake tasted amazing, and honestly, that's what matters most. If you enjoyed baking this with me, you can stick around for more little adventures like this. Until then, bye bye.